What AI coins EllioTrades is actually buying? Are they the same that he's sharing within his audience? Is he entering certain AI agents at this stage? Today, we're going through the list of AI altcoins shared by EllioTrades in order to figure out which of them actually have crazy potential moving further to the cycle and which of them you probably should avoid at this stage. Without further ado, let's start. We're kicking off with some tweets from EllioTrades. This is a staggering chart. AI and meme are soaking up half the mindshare in the crypto space. I repeatedly said since 2023 that I view all AI projects as memes, at least for now. I can't agree with this because most of the AI projects are absolute vaporware, and even all the virtual coins, they're absolute vaporware at this stage. 99.99% of them will eventually be going to zero. So really, we have memes and memes that are AI flavored. 100% actually agree with this take, quite interesting one. Next thing, the trend of AI agents to make crypto easier to use is actually insanely bullish. This is the path to make crypto easy enough for grandma. UX is the big breakthrough. It's quite interesting because the question of user experience is one of the toughest one out there. It's quite hard for a regular person to download the browser extension, save your seed phrase, send some money there, some crypto there, do some other manipulations, have the token of the native chain to be able to send money to the wallet that you actually want to receive it at. Do not screw up with different networks out there. User experience is not that great, and it's definitely a threshold for a bunch of people to enter at this stage in terms of on-chain economy, right? Because centralized exchanges, they definitely make it a bit easier for us. And the solution as EllioTrades is essentially EllioTrades is essentially shown here are AI agents. Imagine you're just talking to an agent, you're just saying like, hey, I want to send 5 Ethereum from this wallet, from BC chain to this chain on Ethereum, and it's just done automatically for you, pretty much just based on the things that you have given as a prompt. I do find even myself spending a lot of time when I need to sell something there from one chain, transfer to another chain, do some stuff out there. This is the process that is definitely tedious. It takes time, and it's a huge barrier. Large amount of people means larger capital. Next, Amazon and Nvidia are trading a micro-valuations right now. With a friendly government, the best and brightest in society will rush into building crypto. There is no second best industry. Utility coins will reshape society. You are prehistoric early. I do think that we should be seeing a large repricing happening on altcoins. I do think that it actually should be happening quite soon. But what we have to remember is that during the dot-com bubble, a lot of the companies like Amazon, for example, it was already present on the marketplace. But after the bubble flopped, it took multiple years to recover to the prices, to the initial prices that it was essentially inflated to during the dot-com bubble. A lot of companies, I do think, will be facing similar fate. A lot of crypto projects at this stage. So, what are the peaks of EllioTrades? What are AI coins that he is actually investing, altcoins out there, where he is positioning his money in order to actually capitulate, make a bunch of money on this AI meta going on? We will be starting with large caps, and closer to the end of the video, I will also be talking about a couple of low caps that EllioTrades is actually invested in at this stage. And the first of them is TAO, a coin that actually performed very nicely from the lows of the bear market out there. Right now, it definitely did see a push from September levels into the highs of early December, right? It's seen a push pretty much from $255 to $130 till $700, so a clean 3x. Right now it's correcting heavily, and the question you should be asking yourself whether or not right now is actually the right time to be invested into this asset and maybe buying into this asset at this stage. Let's check out what do we have on this marketplace happening around TAO right now. The AI trend mirrors the DeFi boom of 2020-2021. If things continues to run, the next 6 months for AI will be explosive. Come on, TAO, it's your time. TAO is essentially seen as this largest AI play from this cycle, because Render was essentially present in the last cycle as well. If you think agent launchpads are exciting, just wait till BitTensor becomes a printing press for digital commodities with the same tokenomics flywheel virtuals validated in recent months. If BitTensor can get the DTAO user experience right, expecting a big resurgence with TAO leading the AI meta once more alongside AI16Z, virtuals Cerebro. Dynamic has been achieved internally. A very interesting take from the VC from yesterday, right? This guy essentially has a bunch of money and he's investing in a bunch of projects out there. And we will also talk about why BitTensor might actually be doing something similar to virtuals out there. Very interesting take. We have to discover why. The devs are deving, already seen teams launch AI agents on Bittensor just 48 hours after smart contracts went live. Unlimited subnets plus EVM plus the TAO is setting up Q1 to be pretty explosive. An interesting piece of information. So what happened essentially is that Bittensor allowed for AI agents to actually being created on Bittensor platform as well, which is huge for the industry because essentially this is the main thing out there that is pumping right now. The main hot meme coin narrative is essentially AI agents currently. People are actively trying to make them on different platforms in order to get this exit liquidity for the projects, in order to scam people and drop as much money as they only can. Top projects with the largest staking ratio. We can see Bittensor, almost 82% of the coins is actually staked. This is very, very bullish for any project. We kind of had a similar situation happening with Cardano last cycle because people were believing in it a lot. It was a huge cultish behavior around it. They essentially staked the coins, which allowed for the price to grow because when most of the coins are staked, they are out of the supply and it's just easier to push the price of the coin because there is a smaller amount of sell pressure present. Chamath name drops Bittensor TAO as a project he is looking into. This is essentially one of the huge VCs. He might be just pumping his backs, and to be honest, I'm starting to see VCs just as influencers, but for bigger money out there, right? This is definitely something that they're doing themselves. These guys, they've done it with Solana. It was a very, very famous thing on one of the podcasts when they were joking like, I have shit ton of Solana. I don't know what I should do with it. Maybe I should sell and stuff, right? But it's a very, very interesting thing. They are like influencers, and the things that they're essentially buying in, they might not even be that good. It's just that they need to be good enough in order to deceive people into buying the things that they're talking about, right? And most of the stuff that they're buying, especially in crypto, it's not revolutionary. It's not changing anything out there. This is monthly chart for TAO. It looks quite bullish. Why? Because we're essentially touching the support from previous levels. We almost slightly broke through it, right? But if we are expecting reversal from the marketplace to happen, this would be the best entry point at this stage into this asset currently. Obviously, it's a large market cap, so you cannot expect crazy returns out of it. However, for a long-term hold, it would be quite nice. This is the mindshare comparison of TAO on virtual, and we can see that virtual is kind of approaching the mindshare of TAO, which is quite crazy. And I would even go one step further and say that probably the mindshare of virtual is actually larger than the mindshare of TAO at these levels. Last but not least, a meme showing the current situation. People are definitely looking out of TAO ecosystem into AI16Z and virtuals. However, it's essentially the same narrative, right? And Bittensor TAO, it's not like they are just sitting there and doing nothing, right? They're trying to adopt the strategies that were able to bring additional liquidity and volumes into the other platforms, like AI agents build that they just implemented and just launched as well, which definitely shows the team is trying to catch the mindshare, catch the attention. Let's see whether or not we are actually at the huge, large local top for AI agents, and this would be a wrong move by Bittensor because AI16Z and virtuals will start to correct heavily. But anyway, I do think TAO might be doing quite well just because of the fact where it is on the chart at these levels. Next project that Ellio Trades is bullish on is actually Destra Network. And this is one of the projects that you cannot actually call a vaporware because of the fact that it actually has revenue coming in. And right now we'll actually try to figure out the fair valuation for this type of project, essentially in comparison to real Web2 tech companies, and figure out if crypto valuation is actually close to the real valuation, right? Usually crypto valuation for these projects is heavily inflated. Happy New Year, everyone. We hope 2025 brings success, happiness, and opportunities for everyone. Desync buy-sell tax is now 0%. Here's to a year of growth, innovation, and opportunities. Let's make this year unforgettable together. So they essentially changed some things on 0% tax, which definitely improves and increases the amounts of volume that these things should be having moving forward. Destra Network desynced 350,000 revenue this month. We are thrilled to share that in just 24 days since launching Destra Enterprise Solutions, we have achieved 350,000 in revenue. That's a monthly revenue, which is on a yearly basis, that's around 3.5 million, right? It's also quite important to figure out how much of this is profit. Usually for this type of companies, the profit is quite high. So we may say that like 2 to 2.5 million a year is essentially profit, which would put fair valuation with a 15x multiplier at around 30 to 40 million dollars, right? And the valuation of crypto coin is at 300 million right now, so 10x larger. This is usual for our industry. In our industry, things are overvalued, but it's still a huge plus because most of the coins out there, most of the projects out there, they're not making any revenue. zero revenue on there. This thing is actually started to make revenue. It's nice. If obviously these numbers are not inflated, because there are a bunch of projects that have inflated numbers in terms of how much revenue they essentially make. This is the chart of desync at this stage. This is something that might be happening moving further. We're definitely at the very, very interesting levels, and chart kind of also reminds me of the chart of TAO, which is quite nice if you would essentially ask me. And truly, with the continuation of the alt season, with the continuation of liquidity flows going into alts, I can see something like this essentially be happening. But we should be tapping the previous all-time highs, and this time we should be breaking through it, because we received a large reaction from these levels and we get sent down like crazy. Binance is also considering to list good, solid AI projects with revenue and with proper tokenomics. It's very, very important. We have to focus on this statement, because the reason Binance want to invest proper good projects with solid tokenomics and with good revenue, with revenue in place, is because Binance understands they understand very, very well all the narratives, everything that's happening in the crypto market. They understand this very, very well. They understand that most of the AI stuff is vaporware out there. That's why they don't want to get burned. They don't want to essentially list something that does not make sense. Destra is retesting the resistance it's been facing for months, but now flipping it as support, a 300 million market cap support. The flow of updates is unmatched, and we know Binance is considering listing solid AI projects. The next few months are going to be explosive for desync. Something we can also focus on is that the market cap and fully diluted valuation is at the same levels, which means that there are no coins that will be dumped on you by early insiders or investors and venture capitalists with this one. The market cap for this thing is $60 million, which is exactly similar to fully diluted valuation. It's quite interesting that Ellio picks coins that are similar from the market cap and FDV point of view, which means that there is a smaller chance that insiders would essentially be dumping on people who would be buying this coin from the market. The market has never seen an AI simulation game where the agent is the player, not on mobile, not on console. It simply doesn't exist. Parallel Colony is creating this new category and will be the first, and it will be powered by Prime. You hear ARPG, you think Diablo. You hear FPS, you think Halo or Call of Duty. You hear AI game, you will think Parallel Colony. This is essentially one of the implementation of this altcoin in potential upcoming games that will be coming out there on the marketplace. Over a year ago, Parallel ventured into creating an AI agent game. It's set to release in Q1 called Parallel Colony and will run on Prime. A very, very interesting combination with the Prime, which kind of doing well currently. These agents have wallets with both tokens, money, and NFT possessions. The thesis has to create a new category of game where natively digital intelligence has natively digital money, crypto, and natively digital possessions, NFTs. Absolutely crazy if you think about that. From this, a paper was created on AI Wayfinder. So essentially the talk here is about the game where NPCs, non-playable characters, would be able to have their own possessions in the form of NFTs, and they will have their own money in form of crypto as well. Absolutely crazy if something like this would essentially be happening. And if the economy would be developed in a proper way, imagine people essentially making money and playing in a game where a bunch of players and characters are actually non-playable characters, but they are very rich. They have crazy amounts of money because they essentially abuse the system, and they also don't sleep. They just work, work, and work. This is the chart of Parallel AI, kind of similar to the chart of TAO and to the chart of previous projects that was shown as well. Kind of seeing the same price action. I would say that currently is definitely a nice point to be entering on all of these projects at this stage, because they are at the core support level at these levels. If they're breaking down, it will be very, very bad for the altcoin market, although I do think we might be seeing a small deviation just below the bottom border of this range right here. Another chart showing exactly the same thing, that we are essentially at the global support for PAI at this stage. Last but not least, the current price action can seem as giant corrective channel, and usually they are essentially ending up with continuation of the move higher. Although it's very, very important that on this chart we also have deviation below the bottom of this range. So this probably would be the generational entry point into this project. And I would say if something like this will be happening, it will be happening on all of the altcoin charts out there. It will be a generational entry point into them. Last but not least is NeuralAI. It's quite important to know that the market cap is also similar to the fully diluted valuation, which definitely says one more time that Ellio is focusing on coins that essentially have all of the coins in the market as well. They don't have many investing schedules, and they don't have VCs that will be dumping on people coming into these coins a bit later. NeuralAI is essentially a protocol that helps for the game development with AI-powered 3D models. If you're active in the crypto space, you probably have seen a tweet from Elon Musk saying and asking the audience, should I start the first AI gaming studio? The vision for the future is essentially you're talking to something like a chat GPT, right? And you're creating the models, you're creating the worlds, you're creating the game mechanics out there. So you won't need like any piece of the puzzle in terms of any team member out there, which is a very, very interesting vision out there. NeuralAI's agentic world building. Neural offers advanced 3D asset generation from text or image inputs alongside material and texture generation tools. Soon, we'll release a complete character pipeline for NFTs and other applications. And integration with NFTs is an interesting one. Our ultimate goal is agentic world building, creating fully realized virtual levels with minimal input. Starting from a heat map, the process includes automated landscape painting, biome-based vegetation, and area segmentation for objects and NPCs. Users can provide feedback and key steps, shaping elements like NPC, equipment, and ambient sounds. The first phase of this revolutionary workflow is launching soon. Discover the full details in the video. So pretty much it's like just talking to LLM and essentially just telling the LLM what type of world, what type of game you wanted to create. It's quite interesting that last two picks from Ellio, they're heavily connected with the narrative that he is very, very bullish on, which is crypto gaming. Agent are things like the human brain. AI agents today rely mostly on LLMs with limited independent thinking. To make them smarter and more human-like, we need to explore parallel processing and multitasking, similar to how the human brain works. Most agents now operate on singular processes, but there is huge potential to improve both individual agents and multi-agent systems, where different agents work together like a swarm. Discover the full details in the video. Yeah, it's a huge issue currently that a lot of agents, they do not input new information, so they do not retrain moving further. They are static, and obviously they often do not talk to each other in a way of learning themselves even further. So they mostly using a set piece of data at this stage, and you kind of teach them once, and then they just stay the same with the similar type of inputs. Something like this, especially in the game setup, that's like huge. It's like the first step to the metaverse out there. We can also see the chart. It's also quite similar to most of the charts of these AI peaks out there, which definitely shows certain healthiness that is present within this AI gaming market. And like last two picks, they're essentially about AI and gaming, which is quite crazy and quite huge if you think about that, right? And I would say that also we're at the core support level. If we would focus and if we would follow the deviation that was present on the previous chart, for example, we would most likely be dropping somewhere to the levels of $7, which would also be the generational entry point for things like this. Obviously, if we consider the alt season to happen, and if we consider seeing alt season moving further as well. These are all of the AI picks by EllioTrades at this stage. Let me know if you actually agree with them. Do you have any other coins you're investing into currently? And maybe I will talk about them in the next video if I would essentially find them interesting myself as well. Thank you very much for watching this one. Happy New Year, happy 2025 one more time, and as usual, I will be seeing you tomorrow. Stay healthy and rich. Bye bye.